At this point, we'll kind of recap a little bit of our board meeting, which was 2 weeks ago. So it feels, in a COVID world, it feels like an eternity ago. We are going to have a strategic planning meeting on September 23rd. It's going to look a little bit different than years past. So we're going to kind of have representation from the board and then representation from a handful of other key stakeholders, and then have an additional meeting on October 6th to kind of fine tune some of that as an organization as we look into 2021. That was one of the primary topics at our last board meeting, that in addition to budgets, we're consistently reviewing the budget and then trying to get contacts out with as much of the membership and make sure that we're supporting everyone as they need it. And that's really the board update. I'll go ahead and transition it to Mike at this point for the executive director update.
Thank you, Jameson. And good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We have a great agenda today, so I'll only cover a few items that are really timely for everyone. As usual, we'll publish a newsletter in a week or so with additional information that did not get covered in this meeting, and we'll also publish a recording of this meeting within a few minutes after the close of the meeting today. New unemployment numbers are out. They were released September 4th, which are for the month of July for state and county, and for the month of August nationwide. And we've got some positive news here. La Plata unemployment rate as of July was down to 6.4%, which is down 3.9 from previous 10.2, I believe. And the state and the nation are also following that downward trend. State of Colorado, July numbers was down 7.4 from a previous number of 10.6 in June. And U.S. unemployment, if you've been tracking that, is steadily drawing down. It's now 8.4 for the month of August, down from 10.2 in July. The La Plata numbers represent 1,952 unemployment claims, active claims, from a total of 30,547 in the labor pool. There's still a couple of grant funds out there. The federal CARES money is making its way to state and local government right now across the country, and in Colorado, that has made its way to our county. There are two CARE funds grants that are available to small businesses in La Plata County right now that small businesses with less than 50 employees are eligible for. The first is the Energize Colorado Gap Fund, which is open now, and it closes December 2020. It is not a first-come, first-served. There's a rubric, and that rubric consists of COVID-related costs in addition to loss of revenue minus any federal funding that was received for those specific costs. Again, that is the GAP fund. Go to energizecolorado.com, and there are a couple of administrators. I believe Region 9 is a local administrator here in La Plata County. The second grant that is not open yet, but should open mid-October, will be administered by Local First. It is from La Plata County, and that will be up to $10,000 as opposed to $15,000 in the GAP fund. And that will also not be a first-come, first-served. The rubric is being created right now as we speak, but it looks like it'll have very similar parameters with COVID-related costs minus any federal funds that have been received to cover those, or any other grant monies that have been received. One other note that I don't have a slide for, but we'll cover in detail in the newsletter, is we continue to have a very, very strong real estate market. Mortgage rates have dropped to an all-time low for the 9th time in 2020. And as of yesterday morning, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage was 2.86 for the week ending September 10th, falling 13 basis points from the week prior. There are a couple of upcoming events that I want to highlight. The first is the inaugural event for the Alliance 2020 series. This will be focused on restaurants and retail, managing COVID liabilities, and existing business models, new business models to address COVID. Thank you, Tim at BID. Thank you, Jack at Chamber, and Dave Woodruff at the Colorado Restaurant Association for the Durango chapter for bringing this event to our community. Emily has found two great high caliber speakers. The first is Matt Wagner from National Main Street Center, and the second will be Sarah Wallace, and she's a partner at Ballard Spahr law firm in Denver. The second event is the Future at Work. This will be virtual. This will be the second year that we've helped sponsor this event, and Emily has reached out to people to help participate as a mentor. That is scheduled for September 29th from 10 o'clock to 11:15 via Zoom. So expect an email from Emily if you haven't received one already. Lastly, the Alliance has already submitted comments, final comments to the Board of County Commissioners regarding the proposed land use code that will go before the board in a hearing scheduled for about 2 hours from now. We highly recommended that the concept of a citizens review committee be adopted post approval of the code, and we made a note of clarification for the appeals process again. Commissioner Church will cover this in a little bit of detail shortly. With that, I'm very excited to introduce our new City of Durango City Manager, Jose Madrigal. And Jose, on behalf of the business community, would like to welcome you and very much looking forward to working with you. When do you start?
Well, I started actually yesterday. It was my first day working remotely, and then I will be in Durango on the 21st. So using this time really to kind of try to get everything as much as I can a learning in regards to where we are on processes and big projects and documents on financials and strategic plans of what might be there, and really try and do some research so that when I get to the 21st and start meeting with staff more closely, that I'm able to really hit the ground running.
Great, fantastic. So it sounds like we got you on day number 2, huh?
Day number 2, yes, sir. So I apologize for my wall behind me. It's just I'm in the house and we're moving, so everything looks pretty blank right now. So it's not to have that industrial look, but more of just a house that's on its way to being moved.
Yeah, well, Tim can help you with the virtual Zoom background if you need any help. He's a guru at that. Gotcha. And you told me you already have your kids enrolled, and logistically you're getting set up pretty well.
Yes, sir. Kids are enrolled. They'll start on the 21st as well over at St. Columba. And so they are enrolled. We're all getting ready. I think it's Friday early morning. We'll start the drive up to Durango, have a stop in New Mexico, and then make our way up there and be there Saturday.
Fantastic. Well, I know I've told you personally to don't hesitate to reach out, but that goes for the rest of the business community as well. So anything that we can all do, just don't hesitate for a second.
Appreciate that.
Excellent. I've got a couple of questions, if you don't mind, to just ask you. What do you expect your first order of business to be as you take on the role next week?
My first order of business really is to meet and make connections with everyone that I possibly can within a week. So that is with staff. While I haven't had virtual meetings so far, still continue to meet with those, and then really begin setting up and getting to understand who are the people in the community that are important that I go out and meet with, and start going down and working down the list of really becoming kind of ingrained into the community, and introducing myself to everyone and letting them know that I'm here to help and listen, and find out what everyone's perspective is on the community and their perspective on the organization. Really look at things that the city's doing well. Maybe there's some things that we can improve upon, and maybe there's some things that we should start doing. So really looking to receive and solicit feedback internally and externally in the organization. Yeah,
through the interview process, I know you mentioned 100-day plan, and it sounds like, you know, as you've taken on new roles, you've created 100-day plans. Can you give us a brief overview of what your 100-day plan might look like and what your expected results might be?
The expected results is really what I look at as a kind of a snapshot of the organization in time. I'm a big believer in high performance organizations. I have a background in high performance organizations through Baldrige criteria, which is the Malcolm Baldrige Award that's given by the President of the United States of the best practices for public and private sector businesses, and was an examiner. And also did some training with the UT School of Public Affairs, and as well as the University of Virginia, Weldon Cooper. And I say that because it really talks about some of the big themes and big what I would call just, for lack of a better word, and sorry, it's slipping me just, I guess, maybe early in the morning, but a lot of the great qualities that the high performing organizations have that really are able to achieve great things. And so a lot of that would be on resiliency, strategic planning, looking at what are the mission, the vision, and the values. How do we know what's important within our city? How does our leadership team interact with our organization? What is their role? What do they see? Are we in line with the council on their strategic goals? Are we doing our best to continue to support? Do we have communication gaps within the organization? Do we have communication gaps with outside the organization? And really look at the resiliency of our organization and the sustainability in regards to how are we continuing to do business if COVID and things continue to go through, and how do we continue, what plans and processes do we have set up? So when I look at that 100-day plan, I really see it as kind of a snapshot of, okay, here's where we are. Here are some things that we're doing really well. Let's celebrate it. Here are some things that I think we can improve upon. And at the end of that 100 days, begin working with the council of letting them know, here are some of the things that I think we can improve upon. Here are some steps that I'd like to begin taking. Here are some things that I'd like to begin starting with that I've heard from the council, from their expectations. And then finally, it really is communication with the staff and introducing myself to them, them understanding what my vision is, what my management philosophy is, and that they're clear on kind of what my expectations are and their expectations of me are. So it's really that beginning that conversation and that two-way introducing myself into the entire organization and community.
Excellent. Well, say you mentioned that you already have gotten some feedback from the council. Are there major initiatives that are already becoming a priority or bubbling up to the top for you?
There's two that I've seen. One is I know that there's a big issue just kind of reading in the newspaper recently on the campsite that's coming on, and so I'm trying to get my hands around that. A little bit more, I guess, unfortunately, late to the game, if you will, just starting on Monday, but really trying to get my hands around that and trying to help staff a little bit in trying to provide the guidance that the council is looking for. Secondly, the one that I think for us that's really bubbling internally is just the finance director position. It's a real key position coming on, especially right now with the budget coming up and looking to be, formalized within late November, early December. But we really need some help in the finance director side and really begin bringing in some executive power with the finance director position to begin transforming the finance department into one that establishes the transparency and the trust within the community.
Thank you, Jose. I know you've given a ton of thought to this, and you've already been doing consulting for other municipalities in the time of the pandemic. Are there things that you think are huge opportunities for Durango in a COVID world and then in a post-COVID world?
It's interesting you say that, because I think one of the biggest things that Durango has going for them is really the real estate market and the influx, if you will, of
I think we lost his voice. I think we lost your voice, Jose. Are you able to hear us? Jose, you want to try to unmute yourself, see if that works?
There you go. Is that better?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sometimes I guess my AirPods don't work as normally as they were, so I took those off and I'm feeling good. I think you can hear better now. So yeah, one of the opportunities I see is just really the corporate base. We're having a lot of, from what I read in the newspaper and just kind of seeing the trends, that you're having a lot of corporate officers kind of look at Durango as a temporary place right now during the pandemic and doing a lot of virtual learning because of everything that the community offers. And when you look at some opportunities, when you have that, what I would call that knowledge within the community, I think it's a great time to see if we can get some outreach and kind of understand what it would take for maybe them to make Durango permanently their home, or maybe their business permanently their home, and really get a grasp of some of the best concepts that that they would be looking for in Durango to make it kind of a permanent. And so the big advantage is that you're continuing to see economic growth, if you will. While it's still going down, but you're still seeing positive growth, where a lot of the cities that I've been doing consulting with through this crisis are just continuing to lose, and nobody's coming into their cities. So that's a big plus that I see, is that it's still a valuable place that people want to go and people are still attending. And it's really, how do we capture that and working with your organization and making sure that we're supporting this little bump that we have and continue to grow it and cultivate it so that we can make it permanent for the long run.
Yeah, that I agree with you 100%. And the Alliance is looking at a remote worker recruitment program, because I feel like there's a lot of talent out there right now who their day-to-day has completely changed. They're able to work remotely now, whereas they maybe didn't have that flexibility 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago. And how do we integrate that talent into existing sectors and the business community here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Jose, any parting words for the group? And again, thank you for giving us some time this morning on your second day on the job. So really appreciate that. Anything else that you want to give note to our membership?
Absolutely. Just first and foremost is a thank you. Been such a warm welcome through this whole process. And then even when was offered the position and became finalized, the emails that I received from people within the Durango community, just welcoming to the community, has just been really special to myself, to my family. It really is a really special place and really warm welcome. So for the city and the community, thank you so much for that warm welcome. And I look forward to moving forward in the next months and weeks to continue to outreach and meet with y'all and discuss and get everyone's perspective, and really try to help see what we can do to continue to keep Durango, keep it a special place, and keep it moving forward.
Thank you, Jose. Excellent. Heather, I'm going to transition to you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Are you ready? Okay. Mm-hmm. Heather Otter, Region 9.
Good morning, Alliance members and colleagues on the call. I would like to just do a few updates, and go ahead to the next slide. If you're joining maybe the call for the first time, or you are not familiar with Region 9, we are your economic development district. So we cover the 5 counties in Southwest Colorado and the 2 Native American tribes. You can reach me at heather@scan.org if you have any questions or follow-up, and there will be some information provided in the Alliance newsletter that Mike mentioned earlier in the call. Next slide. So first this morning, we have some guests coming tomorrow. Region 9 is going to welcome Sally Clark, who's the Colorado State Director for the USDA Rural Development Fund, and also we'll have a director from the Small Business Administration. And they'll be touring 4 of our La Plata County businesses who also happen to be Region 9 loan clients. So this is nice because they're coming to see about how our businesses are doing in the COVID situation. The SBA is the only cabinet level federal agency that is fully dedicated to small businesses. They provide counseling and capital contracting. So it's nice when they can actually come to our corner of the world and visit. So that will be tomorrow. They'll be going on these tours. Next slide. Something else we're excited about is that we are awaiting approval by the end of the month for our second statewide business loan program that will allow Region 9 to help manage about $8 million across the whole state of Colorado. But we will be able to focus on our small businesses here, again, lending more money and in the Southwest region. But this is exciting again, because this will be a statewide fund that Region 9 gets to take part in. So we will let you know an update on that at the end of the month. Next slide. Census time is running out. We have until the end of September, unless by some miracle the federal agencies decide to extend the amount of time that we will have to collect data for the census. This is all about fair representation, fair funding, and actually accurate data collection. So the message I want you to leave with today is, if you know anybody, if you can spread the word, if you yourself have not responded, the self-response is so important. Actually, the data that's provided in our self-response, either when we call or we jump online to respond, is more accurate than when the enumerators come to your house. Statistically, they've shown that we get better and more accurate data when people self-respond. So it's really important, especially here in our rural communities. We are typically, we have historically undercounted for self-response. So again, the deadline is going to be the end of this month. Let's get the word out. We are at about 59% self-response for La Plata County. That doesn't mean overall response. Again, our enumerators are out there, they're knocking on doors, and they are leaving packets if they are not able to talk with somebody. There are a lot of people that don't want to answer the door, which is perfectly okay. But if we can encourage people to self-respond, that's important. So with enumeration, we are above that 60% rate. But again, we want to have as many people self-respond as possible. And before we go to the next slide, I did want to go back to something Mike mentioned, which is the Energize Colorado Fund. If you go to energizecolorado.com, you can actually select Region 9 as your partner, and we will help you. We are participating in evaluating those loan applications. We have about 200 right now that our loan officers are working through. And this is one of the only funding mechanisms that has been made available to 501c6s. So if you fall into that category, you might be interested in this. There's about $20 million dedicated to that fund. So again, that's energizecolorado.com. And thanks, Mike, for mentioning that. All right, next slide. I wanted to bring up the Southwest Colorado Disaster Assistance, or we call it SWCODA for short. This is something that was born out of the 416 fire and has been re-energized in and during COVID. So La Plata County has an amazing task force of folks who have gotten together to help the county get help and give help. So there's a group of people that have worked tactically and also strategically. This website is a hub, if you will, for those resources. And Region 9 recently was awarded some grant money through the EDA, which I'm excited to say will allow us to continue supporting some of the people that are behind the scenes working on this website. So we will be able to keep it alive and keep it going. It will help and cover all 5 counties so that they can post and keep things updated with resources. But I wanted to mention this. If you have not visited the site, again, that is SWCODA, SWOCODA.org, and check it out. If you have questions about getting information up here, you can contact myself, or there is contact information on the site. And I think that's it for me today, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And Heather, thank you for your leadership with the task force. I know that the strategic group and the tactical group have been meeting every week, every 2 weeks. So thank you very much, for what you're doing there.
Yeah, I might mention just that strategic group. We did sort of go into the avenues of tactical and strategic from the one group that we were in, and speaking of strategic planning, I know that many of us are in that mode. And so the focus of our strategic group will be what's called the CEDS. It's an acronym for the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy for the region. And I'm really excited about that because that's something that collectively takes all the existing plans and initiatives and puts them in one place that, and Region 9 will manage the end product for that. But many people that are on this call, all of our communities will have representation in that. And we're excited to include the timing with the city of Durango is excellent as well, because I know that they'll be working into strategic planning, as will the Alliance. So we have strategic planning on the mind.
Yep, exactly. Thank you, Heather. Thanks for your time this morning. Mr. Tim Walsworth from BID.
Good morning. Thank you, Mike, for having me. Ditto the thanks to Heather, especially Heather for your work on the census. I was supposed to be your partner on that. I completely bailed. Blame it on COVID, not my fault. I know you have a big team that's working with you, but good job there. And I echo Heather's comments about helping to promote in this last month or so, or last couple of weeks to get our numbers up there a little bit. I think we've kind of tied where we were in the past in terms of percentage of respondents, but we want to have more people counted than ever. So Heather, good work and nice to see you. So my name is Tim Walsworth. I'm the executive director at the Durango Business Improvement District, or the BID. The BID, if you don't know, we're funded by a small property tax on about 400 commercial properties in downtown and in the North Main District. And so we work for the businesses in those properties, probably close to 1,000 businesses that we are responsible for assisting. I got like 3 things I want to report on this morning, Mike, and I'll start with the bump outs downtown. Those have been active for about 3 months now, so we have a good amount of time to kind of analyze how are they working. And a recent survey that's just been completed amongst the current users shows that at least 20% of total sales at the businesses using them are coming out of those bump outs. So it's really making a difference when 1/5 of your sales are coming from that new space. And just that alone proves to me that that was worth all the effort to get those done. We're starting to think about, is there a way to extend those through the winter months? Currently, they're set to end October 31st. If you run them through the winter, there's all kinds of challenges with snow removal and how do you heat them safely and how do you keep people safe in there. But we're starting to explore that. So keep your fingers crossed that we might be able to offer that to those businesses that would still like it. Let me talk about sales and sales tax a little bit. So, the sales tax reports, you guys know, they're a lagging indicator, but informative just how our business is doing. It's something that I follow very closely month after month after month. A reminder that the month of the report shows the sales that took place the month prior. So the July report shows sales in June. And that's the most current info that we have. And so what the current report allows us to see is the impact during the lockdowns and then when things began to open back up. And so for downtown only, here's some numbers for you guys. The April sales were down 31%, big decrease, makes sense. Everything was shut down then essentially. May sales, we started to open back up in May. Those were down 19% for all the businesses in downtown. And then June sales were down only 14%. And so year to date through that June report, we're only off by 12%. So I don't think that that's necessarily good news, but something I've been hearing a lot lately is it's not as bad as we thought it would be. I hear that over and over and over. And those numbers kind of show it, at least the beginning of all this. But how did July and August go? We won't know until about a month-ish from now when we have the next 2 sets of reports. But one thing we can look at is hotel occupancy, and it doesn't exactly correlate with sales tax, but there's some tie-in there. And so here's what we see. For June, hotel occupancy for our town was off by 36% compared to same month a year ago. And remember, downtown sales that month off by 14%. July occupancy, the decrease dropped to 16%. And in August, it dropped again to 12%. And so if you just look at summer as a whole, June, July, and August, our hotel occupancy was off by about 21%. And as I kind of look at that and try to forecast a little bit, what I'm going to guess is that the sales decreases for downtown businesses probably going to be in the single digits in terms of a decrease through the end of summer. And so we'll see if that proves to be right. But, you know, the eyeball test shows things were fairly busy. The hotel stats back that up a little bit. And so hopefully the sales tax reports will follow. So what's next? BID is really getting concerned now about what happens in these slow months, October, November, January, February. When we look at the trends on those sales tax reports and thus the sales, those are the slowest months of the year. And so we're trying to come up with new strategies, new programs that we can implement to try to get our businesses over these coming months here. And to that end, something I'm excited about, I'm actually convening a study session with a ton of former BID board members who know the BID from the inside, and they're all current, they still own all their businesses. And so we're going to get some really great information from prominent, long tenured business owners who know BID and its strengths and its opportunities. And so that'll be coming up at the end of September. It'll be a public meeting, just like all of our meetings are. And so people can sit in and listen to what we learn there if you want. Just watch the public meeting notices. And then last thing, Heather talked a little bit about the task force, and I'm on the tactical team right now. And just the next thing that tactical team is working on is a flu shot campaign. And what we're finding out from our healthcare experts is that flu shots are always important, but they're probably more important ever this year for many reasons. And so watch for a fun campaign to encourage people to get flu shots. We're hoping we can create just some walk-up clinics to make it, you know, free, make it super duper easy. There's a lot of challenges to that, a lot of logistics we got to overcome and figure out, but watch for that hopefully to happen here soon in the next, say, month or so. And Mike, that's my report.
Thank you so much, Tim. Looking forward to the, is it shot for a shot? Is that one of the ideas?
That's the fun part of it, a shot for a shot. So if you guys see, there's an annual blood drive from our local breweries, and they call it a pint for a pint. So we're kind of borrowing that theme, shot for a shot. You can imagine where that goes. Hopefully we'll be able to add some fun to it that way.
All right, looking forward to it. Fantastic. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes, good morning. I am Elizabeth Marsh with SCAPE. We are the Southwest Colorado Accelerator Program for Entrepreneurs, and we work to help create more businesses that will create more jobs in rural Southwest Colorado. And so we do that by working with businesses that are at all different stages, whether they're a startup, been in business a few years, or an established business looking to grow, by connecting them with the best mentors and technical assistance that our community has to offer, and then connecting them with the capital that they need, whether that's a small business loan or an investment through our partnership investment funds. And so next week on September 22nd, we will be having a virtual showcase where the companies we've been working with this year and some of our graduating companies will present where they at and what resources that they need to grow to the next level. And so I hope all of you can tune in. It'll all be hosted on our website. We have everything from local manufacturing companies, product companies, a cidery, software companies that'll be presenting what they've been up to. It's a great opportunity to learn about investment opportunities in our area and also see the type of businesses that are thriving and that we can launch from the region. Another initiative we've been working on is the Future is Digital Training. This is through our partnership with the Center on Rural Innovation. Our area is one of 14 communities around the nation that were selected to provide free scholarships for people to get degrees in digital marketing, business analytics, and web development. And so I invite everyone to spread the word about this, to look at our website for more information. It'll be a great opportunity to provide these skills that are definitely needed as we all grow and expand, and especially due to the COVID pandemic. And then also in October, we will be taking applications for businesses to work with in 2021. We're looking for those businesses that have a nationwide customer base that we can help them scale and grow so that they create those higher paying jobs so that people can afford to live and thrive in our community. And so I invite you all to go to our website to learn more about the upcoming showcase, the scholarship training opportunities, and to help spread the word about being in SCAPE in 2021. So thank you.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Looking forward to the virtual showcase and maybe getting my hands on some of those mountain bike pedals.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, good morning, Mary.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I know that's the thing you're not supposed to say anymore on Zoom. But hi, everyone. I'm Mary Shepard. I'm the executive director of the Small Business Development Center. And I think everyone knows who we are, but just in case there's anyone out there, we are part of 15 SBDC centers across the state of Colorado. We're a program of the SBA, and we offer no-cost technical assistance, so one-on-one consulting to businesses, and then no-cost or low-cost trainings and workshops. And we've been super busy through this last 6 months, working not just with businesses to access some of the funding opportunities that have presented themselves through the federal government and then locally, but also working with a lot of businesses that are seeing opportunities or taking chances right now on launching businesses that maybe they've been sitting on for a while. So it is encouraging that even during pandemic times, there is still entrepreneurship happening. We are located in the new Center of Innovation next door to SCAPE, and we're really excited that we may be able to start kind of ramping up what we're doing. Most of what we're doing is still virtual, but we have been offering a couple face-to-face programs. So some of the big news that we have here is through some CARES Act money, we were able to hire a new part-time temporary position. That is our new disaster recovery coordinator. That's Kiki Hooten. Most of you know Kiki because she was the managing director over at Local First for a little while. So we're really excited to have her brain working on a lot of what we're doing here. Some of you may have noticed that my newsletter last month involved a video intro for me. So that's life in the new having millennials in your office, and that will continue as well. So we have a number of workshop series coming up that we wanted to talk about. So these are some of them. The big one that we're excited about is our e-commerce series. We have been hearing that if you're not selling online, you're losing market. That there's revenue out there that you're not getting. So we really want to help businesses understand that. But we want to make sure that people are not just jumping on a bandwagon that isn't right for them. So as you can see, our first one is going to be, is e-commerce right for your business? So Jasper and some other folks will lead us through a little bit of business planning on that, really looking to see, vetting that opportunity. And then through some other workshops that we have at the state, also offering maybe some information on other avenues versus building a big e-commerce site. So we'll have some stuff on Etsy and eBay and Amazon and some of the other online selling opportunities that people might look at versus a big website. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see it's a 6-part series where we're really going to help people dive into figuring out building an e-commerce site. Some of the other workshops we have coming up, if you haven't joined us yet for one of our marketing happy hours, that is one of our live events that we are doing. They have been over at the Rochester Secret Garden, and it is socially distant outside. The cost of $10 does include 1 drink ticket, and we cover a topic for marketing, and it allows people to get a little bit of that face-to-face time that we're all really craving, I think, right now. So this next one coming up is an introduction to pay-per-click advertising. We've partnered with Visit Durango on that, so they're helping us with that. So that's really a Hannah initiative. We tried to do a how to have difficult conversations in the workplace as a live event, didn't have the turnout we wanted. We're going to try again and do that as a digital virtual conference or virtual workshop. We've been really practicing on how to use breakout rooms, so we're excited about that. So definitely go look at that one. If it's not just, obviously there's a lot of difficult conversations around COVID, but just in general in the workplace, both for frontline employees and for employers, how do you have those difficult conversations? How do you work with difficult customers? So I definitely recommend tuning into that. We're going to do a pivoting your business on October 21st, really looking at opportunities. Again, we've got our starting your business workshop series that's sponsored by First Southwest Bank. This will be our 4th one. We will do that in person here at the Innovation Center. We do cap the number on those. We did have a full class when we did it in August. And then in the works, things we're working on is how to engage your local community. So as we, Tim was talking about, as the summer tourism season slows down, how do we re-engage our local customers? And then how to tie experience into retail, and maximizing customer experience during the holidays. So we've got a number of awesome workshops coming up. We're also obviously working with one-on-one. So if you know any business that needs assistance, please send them our way. One thing I did want to bring up, there is another fund that's going to be coming out of the state of Colorado. So the Office of Economic Development, there was some legislation that happened at the state level. It's going to be called the Climber Fund. They're really trying to figure out how to leverage this money in the best way for businesses. So if there's anybody out there listening that would like to be on a panel with Jeff Kraft up at the Office of Economic Development, he is the Director of Business Incentives and Funding. And they really want to understand, how can we use this money? What can we do with it so that we're really going to have the best impact? Do we use it to do participation loans with banks? Do we do it to buy loans from banks so that they can free up their lending again? Are there specific targets that they want to reach? We had suggested a couple, one of them being employee buyouts. So if there's somebody who wants to step out of their business and they have employees that want to buy it, but maybe don't have the means to do that, could we assist with that? Also, maybe some restructuring money. So people who are carrying debt, could they do some restructuring? But if anybody wants to be a part of that conversation, please reach out to me, because they're really wanting to hear from rural businesses on what makes sense and what they could really do that would help businesses at this time. We've seen a lot of funding. What do we really need? Okay, so let me know on that. And then I just wanted to show you our end of year 2019 scorecard. We did a really good job last year, over $4 million in capital formation. So that was way above our target of 2.5 million or 2.5 million in increased sales. And again, these are all numbers that our clients report to us. We do ask them, with the help of the SBDC, were you able to? So take a look at those numbers. If anyone wants a copy of this, I can email it to you directly, or I'm sure that Mike and Emily can forward it to you. But we have had some great impact over the years, and we did a good job last year. So thought I'd toot my own horn a little. And with that, I would just like to say it's really been an honor working with everybody in this community over the last 6 months on all of the initiatives, Southwest CODA, all the stuff the Alliance does, all the stuff the BID does, all the stuff the Chamber does, all the stuff Region 9 does. I mean, we really, I think and it's exciting to have Jose on board. All the stuff the city's done, I've been super excited working with the city and the county over the last several months as well. So thank you, everybody, and that's all. Reach out if you have any questions for me.
Mary, thank you very much. I was just going to ask if folks wanted to follow up on either the conversation of Jeff Kraft or any of the series, just to contact you at the SBDC office.
Yep, and so you can call me, which is 970-903-9311, or you can email me at shepherd_m@fortlewis.edu.
Fantastic.
Or come
Thank you so much.
visit me at the Innovation Center, because we're here a lot of the time now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Take advantage of those new digs.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Sydney, thank you for joining us this morning. Sydney is the Commissioner for District 8 for CDOT. Appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate you allowing us some time. Of course, we've been, Transportation Commission has been Zooming for the last several months. So we continue. I mean, the work needs to be done, so we continue as best we can. This is a picture that was taken by the CDOT maintenance crew person up on Red Mountain Pass at Ironton, which I'm sure everybody's here has been there, and this was just last week. So if you go ahead, next slide. I want to talk a little bit about transportation planning. Finally, in our last Transportation Commission meeting in August, we approved the long-term transportation plan. there are different iterations of these plans. The longest one is a 20-year plan, so that we can try to look out far enough to see what our needs are going to be in the future, to establish some goals, and look at current funding and what we hope for as far as future funding. Fortunately, before this whole COVID thing, CDOT representatives were able to visit all 64 counties in the state to get their input. And I have 13 counties in my TC region, so I got to at least that many, which is always interesting to visit people in their home space and to see what is really important to them. So this is a 20-year view, and then it gets narrowed down to a 10-year planning view, which is, things that you can really envision happening in the next 10 years. But even that then has to be narrowed down to a 4-year plan that we actually have funding for. May I go on to the next slide? This is in this region, Region 5, which is almost synonymous with my commissioner area. These are the projects that are on the slate for our 4-year plan. And these are the ones that we have funding committed to. Then we have the 10-year plan, so that as these projects are completed, we know what's coming up, and if money turns up from an unexpected source, or if the state legislature comes up with more money, we have a plan and we know what we're going to try to tackle next. So this is the 10-year will be a rolling plan. But again, the 4-year is what we know that we have committed funding. So if you look at these projects, they're all across Southwest Colorado, and of course the big one, the big one is third from the bottom there, the 550-160 interchange. This is the biggest project we've ever had in Southwest Colorado. It's just under $100 million, which even for me as a CPA is kind of hard to grasp. The work on that started a couple weeks ago. I got to go up there and could see they have a lot of pre-construction work to do to help mitigate the impact on continuing travel, because this project is going to go on for more than 2 years. So they've really taken into consideration, we need to keep people moving between here in Farmington and beyond while that's all happening. Let's see, go on to the last slide. This, I encourage you, if you're interested at all, to go to the CDOT website. It's codot.gov. And you can look up the more details of the different plans, the different regions across the state, and just a lot of information that you can feel like is really impacting Southwest Colorado and makes a difference. I think makes a difference in our lives, and hopefully for the better.
Thank you so much, Sydney.
Sure, that's my short presentation. But again, I encourage you to go to CODOT. It's really got a lot of information, and it's got a picture of me that was taken a long time ago. Thanks.
Sydney, on the $98 million project, what's the time frame of completion? How long do you think that's going to take?
It is scheduled right now for 2.5 years. So, we didn't start as early as we had hoped to, but just the fact that we got started, before the snow flies this year, it's going to make a huge difference.
Ah, not really.
There will be up at the interchanges, and there will be a roundabout up at the top of the hill that we're all familiar with, Farmington Hill. but it'll be, there'll be a couple bridges in there. And that's one of the reasons that is such a huge project, is the amount of dirt that needs to be moved. And again, the planning ahead of, you know, we don't want to take the dirt and then later, a year later, have to find dirt somewhere. So there, all those logistics are very complicated, and the Lawrence Construction, who's doing that job, has really come up with some great ideas. So-
Thank you, Sydney.
Sure, thank you.
Really appreciate the update. Commissioner Church, you want to give a brief update?
Yes, thank you, Mike. I'm Clyde Church, La Plata County Commissioner. The biggest project we've had going in the county for a number of years has been the update of the land use planning and land use code. And we have a planning meeting this afternoon. It starts at noon to 4 o'clock. You can access that by Zoom, telephone, or in person. We can take up to 20 people in the boardroom and maintain distancing there. This really culminates a 3-year revision process of the land use code and 3 major red line drafts with over 500 additions and corrections and deletions based upon the input of the community. We've been listening, and we put on a series of engagements to discuss features with different groups of people. And I want to thank the Alliance members, realtors, land use developers, landowners of La Plata, professional engineers, residents, and huge thanks to all those that were involved in the district planning process for 1.5 years. That was a difficult process, but very productive, and provided a framework to build the land use code and guidance from the community. Thanks also to the professional engineers, the residents, and the Planning Commission. All were involved in the planning the code development. And thanks to La Plata County Planning Department, County Attorney, that poured over the standards and spent weekends and 80-hour weeks over months and months debating definitions and pros and cons of different approaches and wording. And what we've done is we've tuned up, restructured, rebuilt, and expanded the 1990 Performance Land Use Code. So some of the features of the code are, we've added rural cluster housing and small subdivisions. Ag Plus is a category that allows agricultural products to be marketed right on the premises, right on the farm, without a land use code permit. And for most situations, unless they're larger facilities. We've streamlined and cleaned up the process. We've clarified it. It's faster. We've added the sketch plan, and that is to predetermine compatibility before you invest a lot of money in all of the site engineering. You know, will it fit the community? Will it fit the environment? Will it fit the geography and geology of the area? We've also added manufactured homes and parks and tiny homes criteria, defined economic growth hubs, provided protection for minerals, and ensured there's a recognition of right to farm and irrigation ditches and irrigation companies. So it's a whole rewrite. It is based upon what we had, and we're still maintaining the Animas Valley zoning as the residents there requested. The rest of it is all performance-based zoning. So yes, we have some sort of zoning, and it's an improvement on what we have. A couple more features of the land use code as it appears in the La Plata County website in the planning department is that has a fully interactive table of contents. And word search works just great on it. So if you want to find a topic, word search it, it'll take you to the table of contents. And from the table of contents, it's all hot linked to the section that it's referring to. So you can jump around very easily, very fast, and determine what your process is and what the criteria is. So with that, I'd like to invite you to the land use planning and code meeting this afternoon, starting at noon to 4 o'clock. So that's all I have, Mike, unless there's questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. And the hearing today starts at noon. People can participate either live or via Zoom, correct?
Or in person. We can take up to 20 people in the boardroom, and that's spaced out. And we have it specifically set up with the protections and splash guards and microphones for the COVID environment we're in today.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Tarkington, are you still with us?
I'm here.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so just quick update. You know, we're in the throes of budget season, and we're super excited about hiring a new finance director. She was slated to start today. I just got off the phone with our town manager, and she is declining the position. So that's a big blow. I'll be headed to town hall right after this to see what our next step is. Bayfield's in a great place. We are consistently trending upward in our sales tax collection. So, and I kind of attribute that to this whole, I think people have really made a shift to support local and shop local. And we would like to really keep it that way. So we have utilized some of our sales tax money to hire an economic recovery intern, and it is on the agenda to approve her contract at tonight's board meeting. So I'm super excited to have her join the town. I think there's going to be, one of her main goals will be to do a needs assessment and really get out and hit the pavement and make sure that we're addressing all the needs of our local businesses to ensure that they can, weather all of this out. I was on the chamber board for years, and our chamber's completely fallen apart. It needs to be rebuilt. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for this intern to help us get a jump start on that as well. We've had some money set aside for our park improvement plan that we've never been able to address just because the parks are always in use. So we've really taken this time since our Parks and Rec department has been shut down to reseed and resurface some of the fields, and going to do some asphalt. So really up our aesthetic in town. So I think it'll be a nice improvement for the town. But yeah, that is my quick update. So looks like I'll have to jump off here and get to town hall to see what our next step is.
Thank you, Mayor. And we're excited to work with the Economic Development Coordinator or intern. So as soon as that person is hired, let me know, and we'll certainly work closely with them.
Perfect. I will definitely send her your way.
Thank you. Okay, with that, unless there's anything else, we're going to wrap up the meeting right at the top of the hour, which is fantastic. We haven't been able to do that for the last 3 or 4 months, just because we've been overzealous about our agenda. But the next Alliance investor meeting will be October 13th. That's a Tuesday. Thank you for joining us today.
Mike, we do have a question coming in. Can she get the Zoom link for the land use code meeting? Yes, Bethany, I will send it to you.
Great. Any other questions?
Sorry, Mike. Okay, looks good.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see y'all.
Thank you.